My name is Elizabeth from Elizbeth Magical Garden. Here is where I empower women to reclaim their authentic power, embrace their inner wisdom, and transform life's most challenges. Transitions into profound opportunities for spiritual growth and self-discovery. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Subscribe to the newsletter at Elizbeth Magical Garden, as well as check out my podcast at Elizbeth Magical Garden, which goes live every single Thursday. Hi, my name is Elizabeth from Elizabeth Magical Garden, Reaching for the Stars. Guys, welcome back to the podcast. I decided to go live on this platform once again because yesterday we were hitting some technical difficulties. You know, your girl is a woman show, and I had to learn a couple of things of the mechanics, and I am proud to say that I have educated myself, got to know a little more about platform that I use. I do stream on StreamYard, and yeah, so here we are, and we are going to make the best of it because you know what, today's topic is really refreshing. We're going to be discussing burnout, okay? Because this is a real thing. This is something that I unfortunately had experienced so many in different areas and so many times in my life. I cannot mention. I also have mentioned on a lot of episodes on the podcast, so be sure to check those out because those were colorful events. But yeah, we are here, and I wanted to cheer amongst you because we are in the season of growth. We are in the season of creating, and it is very easy to get overwhelmed and feel like any time away from the things that we are achieving, feel like it's a waste of time. But before we get into that, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you'll be notified every time I go live or upload a video, as well as get a beverage of choice. Guys, I am here early. I'm still finishing off my coffee as we are until December. You hear a little sip, okay? That's the black. Do you guys have your coffee black? I have my coffee black. You know, as a New Yorker, I feel like it's like a proud thing. I know we have a lot of beautiful coffee shops, and actually we really do have a lot of beautiful coffee shops in New York City to the point where it's actually a movement. And you know, I once upon a time used to have a, how can I say, a delicate, beautiful, expressive coffee. But you know what? There's nothing like a black cup of joe to get you up in the morning. So there's that. And it just does the thing. It is a required taste. Required taste. I'm not gonna lie. It is a required taste, but it's actually healthier for you. Less fattening if you're into that, and less sugar. I'm always trying to make sure that I am not incorporating too much sugar in my diet. You know, we're doing our best here. So, what attracted me to this particular topic? Number one, I was watching the Kiki Palmer show yesterday. She did a segment with Oprah Winfrey. Oprah on on her podcast channel, and let me tell you something. I had practically had pen in hand because Miss Oprah Winfrey was on there, and I just to dive in a little bit, if I may, before we get into today's topic. Number one of the things I noticed, because I like to watch how people appear on other people's platforms, especially those who are well seasoned, right? And we know Miss Oprah Winfrey, she is very well seasoned. I cannot speak enough about her body of work is bodying. Okay, she is a pillar of society. As a black woman, she has definitely put her stake and set a mark in the industry in terms of how we even read books, right? Anyway, there's that. She had on this beautiful white outfit. Now, she didn't have on heels. She had on like these sneakers. I don't know what kind of sneakers they were, but she had on these like loafer sneakers and really understated. The outfit was sporty. It was quiet, chic. She was given youthful, quiet money, and then Kiki had um, her heels. I want to say they were. I don't know if they were red bottom. I'm not into the whole name. I'm just giving you the chicness, okay? Kiki had on these heels, and she had this beautiful off the shoulder with a very wide boat like cuff of a brim. It was very structured top. It was very beautiful. She had a nice little short haircut. Shout out to the baby curls that she had, right? And it was given like 90s haircut. But one of the things I noticed about Oprah, she this Oprah, she came out on her heels. She could have came out. What I appreciated and what I noticed, she didn't come there to outshine Kiki. Like this is her platform, right? And no, even if she did wear heels and do the things, it wasn't that she would have outshined, but because nothing is not strategic when it comes to Oprah. Okay, she didn't get here by mistake. Everything I believe that Oprah put forth into the atmosphere has always been calculated. And I just appreciated how she showed up on that platform. It said a lot about her. It said a lot about her respect for Kiki. It just was really thoughtful. And I don't know if a lot of people would look at it from that point of view, but that is definitely something that I picked up and I appreciated about Oprah. And another thing that they mentioned was about being in alignment. Guys, this is something that I've always felt in my life. Growing up, if I wasn't in alignment with whatever, and this is one of the things why I believe I struggled in school, because especially back in the day, and I'm a 70s baby, right? So there was a particular structure that they, teachers, the educational system ran through kids. And if you did not fall, and I mentioned this in a lot of episodes because I am dyslexic and I learned it different. And it's so interesting because it wasn't until I got out of school I became a genius. Like everything that I learned, and I think it's because I found my learning pattern. I love to read, but I do a lot of audiobooks. I read in hand. A lot of times I will sit and read and listen to the book at the same time, and it helps my mind and my eyes stay the course rather than, if you know anything about dyslexia, you tend to see the letters can um, turn backwards and jump back and forth through your ability to read. It's a whole thing, right? But it wasn't until I learned my own learning style did I excel, was I able to understand, right? And yeah, it took a lot of understanding on my part as years progressed. But once I found it, I excelled. And being in alignment with anything, whether your learning style, whether how you uh, receive information and understanding information, it has a lot to do with alignment. So when Oprah mentioned to Kiki how, because Kiki asked her, like, how did you, like, a lot of things, like, how did you just know, how did you know how to go about um, your career the way you did. And Oprah mentioned about being in alignment resonated with her. She never focused on what other people were doing. She always stood the path and was true to herself. And I really resonated with that message because when I first started vlogging on YouTube, and be sure to check out my vlog channel at Elizabeth Magical Garden. I would love to have you be part of that platform as well. When I started vlogging years ago, it was an outlet. I fell in love with the camera. I fell in love of the behind the scenes, and I'm still like that to this day. I don't mind being in front of the camera. Hence, we're not in front of the camera now, but it's okay because I've learned once I'm in alignment with the medium that I am managing, my best work is always going to move forward. Yesterday, when I was recording the episode for you guys, I kid you not, was I made 3 attempts. The first attempt went on to almost an hour of me speaking, guys. This think about it, an hour of me speaking, and I was not, there was no sound. After I wiped the sweat from my brow, you know what, I'm gonna go in again. Did it again, only for the same thing to happen. The third time I was spent, but I said to myself, I am going to deliver this message. I am in alignment with this message. There is somebody that needs to hear this message. And yes, was it my best work? Maybe not. But you know what? I got the message out there because I was in alignment. And when you are in alignment, you do not, something happens where hell or high water, you're going to get that message out. You're going to do that. You're going to achieve that thing. But with every good thing, there is a balance, which is understanding when it's time to take a step back, which is a beautiful segue to today's topic, which is consistency without burnout, right? Having consistency without burnout, because you can still be consistent while still holding the torch for yourself and allowing yourself to show up in a space where, hey, okay, I know that I am doing this, I am achieving this goal. I know what I want. I know how I see, at least I can see how I would like this to pan out, right? But also holding space for yourself, right? I usually don't go live on Thursdays, right? But I said to myself, you know what? It didn't resonate with me. I wanted to come back to this platform and give more, right? Now, I could have said, you know what? That was it. Better better luck next week. I'll I'll hit beat and start again. And I could have very well done that. But it didn't sit right with me. I wanted to come back. I wanted to give more. And after that, because I know the day I had yesterday and I know that I am constantly pouring out, I'm going to the gym. Yeah, I'm going to take myself, I'm going to go to the gym, and then once I'm done with that, I will continue with the rest of the program that I have going on today. Being consistent does not mean self neglect. It doesn't mean that every along the side does not exist because you have this newfound tunnel vision, right? It means that you are capable of moving forward, showing up as your best self while still holding space for yourself. I believe this beautiful combination allows you not to experience certain things, right? Because women, they, we tend to lose touch with our inner intention and inner voice. We do. We get to this point because we are givers. Women are naturally givers. We we have I believe God created us to give, to be of good fruit to the world. We are born to aid and develop society. Regardless if you are a mother or not, just being a woman, right, is a gift and a light. But sometimes you can, I believe, because I have done it, we can lose touch of that inner voice that is telling you, like, okay, you're doing a lot today, but what are you going to do to pour back into your vessel? What are you going to do after all this work? How are you going to feed yourself? Are you going to have a good meal? Are you going to make sure you work out, stretch your body, walk? Are you going to reclaim your space with nature? It's very important, not only for your physicality, but also your spirit, to always stay in touch with self. Because how can you truly say that you are pouring out fruit when you are feeling dried up? And then what happens through a consistent space of emptiness, when you constantly come in a space of emptiness, what happens is that the very thing that has a calling on your life starts to feel like a burden. You start to begrudge the very thing that you fell in love with. And a lot of times, this is when you stop. You stop short. You stop doing the things. You start the sabotage, right? Because now it doesn't feel good. You're coming from a place of emptiness, and there's no wonder why you can be made to feel like, what's the point? No one is listening. No one is coming to watch. No one is getting the message that I have, and it's not true. I was again, going back to the show, there's this book that I have my phone. Let's see if I could get it on my phone because I legit put it on my list to read. Because when Oprah, when Miss Oprah discusses a book, you want to like at least put it in your repertoire of one of the books you would like to consume. And of course, I can't get to the book because of my phone being on silent. But let's try it. Okay, so let's for 2 seconds get off it because you don't want it to be interrupted as we are on this. We're doing the things. Okay, because I really want you guys to. I think I put it in my wish list. Let's see if it comes up. Oh, okay. It's the book title is A New Earth. A New Earth, and it's by Eckhart Tolle. Is the name is spelled Eckart. Last name Toil. Let's put this girl on mute again, as you already know. Okay, here we go. So this book is, they mentioned about, like, when you hear the voice within you, we all have this inner voice that we constantly hear. It's very easy, thoughts that come into your mind telling you why you shouldn't do the thing, why it's not going to work out, all the negative things. And sometimes it could be a good voice, but sometimes it could be a really negative voice. And the concept, from what I gather, because I didn't read the book yet, but it's definitely on my list, my wish list of one of the books that I'm going to read, where he mentioned that voice that you hear is not you, right? And that's why they say a thought, have a thought, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the thought is true. And we tend to get cloudy in this mix shift of understanding when we are burnt out. it's really hard to fight the good fight, guys, when you are on, right? Because when a woman's energy in self is depleted, that's when sabotage behaviors and negative self-talk arises, I believe. I know anytime that I've been on maybe like a hiatus of getting good sleep, or maybe sleeping too late. I should say sleeping too late, right? Because when I'm a creature of habit. I need to get into bed at 8 o'clock. I know, humdrum, call it what it is. Because I'm a riser, I need to get into bed at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock the latest, and that's pushing it. Okay, I'm talking about teeth, floss, brushed, and all the things, right? Because I need to wind down. I am a very high spirited person, so there comes a time during the day where I need to start to dial back my thought process, maybe try to read something soothing. I'm always between books. I'm between a couple of books, and I'm going to do a segment of some of the favorite books that I've been reading as of late and how they've been helping me. Because let me tell you something, reading is truly fundamental. So you know your thoughts. You know when you are starting to sabotage. Everybody has a different um, mechanism of when to reach for that sabotage broom, right? Because it's bewitching, okay? It could be food, it could be sleeping later, it could be waking up later. You know, that alarm clock is ringing, and you just, how many times, girl, you are beating the life out of that alarm clock? How many times you gonna beat that alarm clock down and not get up when you said? And sidebar, notice anytime you do not keep promises to yourself, you are chipping away at your self esteem. You are chipping away at your spirit. Because for you, you might say, oh, you know what? I was going to, let's just, you know what? Let's use the gym. I was going to work out 3 times this week, right? And you may wake up a little tired. And you already worked out twice, right? Which is great. And you say, well, you know what? I did two. So you know what? Next week I'll do three. But at least I did two. Now, that as minute as it seems, little by little, you not is just realizing that you are not a person to keep your word. And what happens? That action start to filter out into how you are able to have relationships with others. Because how are you going to believe somebody else's word when you don't believe in your word? How are you going to have an intention of expectancy, wanting somebody to keep their word towards you when you're not even capable of keeping your word to yourself? When I came to this thought process, it just really some shift inside of me. Like I mentioned, I'm going to the gym. Guys, I can honestly work out, but it is a different type of workout when I go to the gym. And even if it's just me getting on that treadmill for 15 minutes, I made it a point to go out and go for a walk. And that is big. That is big. I not only did I go to the gym, I also kept my word to myself. And constantly doing that, keeping and being intentional with the things I do, it shows up not only in my personal life, but it also shows up in my business, right? So it's something to think about, because as women, we tend to struggle to maintain an authentic relationship ourselves and other people when we are in a place of burnout. Because when you're on E, it's really hard to maintain, nonetheless, even establish new relationships. You're coming from a place of emptiness, right? I know for myself when it was about, what was it, it was, I'm saying 19, it was 2018. I hit rock bottom, guys. And for years, okay, I was running in fumes for so many years. Once I hit that bottom, it took God, therapy, and so much inner work that I cannot even begin to explain in order for me to be comfortable with establishing and maintaining relationships. And if I'm being perfectly honest, it's still a tender area in my life. But because I am now accustomed to doing the things into myself 24/7, and this could look like anything. I mean, it could be me changing up my hair, doing a spa day, having a weekend of silence, right? Because that could be a thing. It's not always about spending money. Try it one weekend without saying anything. And now, for those who are married and have children, that might be a little hard, right? There are still moments when you can find a place of solitude. If you have children, you can tell your kids, listen, after you've done all the things for them, you can say, you know what, mommy's going to be in the room for a little bit, okay? And whoever does not knock on that door, for you give them, how long of course, make sure everything is safe because, we want the house to be in one piece. Give them a reward, give them a treat. And you know what? This will also show them boundaries and why boundaries are important to have, right? Because now, because you have a time of solitude, you're more cheerful, you're more attentive, and they're gonna see, oh wow, mommy is really, mommy is nicer when she comes out that room, right? A lot of times it's just a little bit of a communication, especially to your spouse. You can say, hey honey, I am going out for a couple of hours. I just need a little time to get my head together. Anybody that loves you is going to give you that time, right? And sometimes it might be, sometimes when we are always the givers, you might get a little pushback, and that's okay. They'll get over it, right? Because you are your main priority. A lot of times, men tend to struggle to maintain authentic relationships with themselves because the coming from a point of view, whereas if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. I need to do it in order for it to be done properly. You know what? May be true, but it is a big false because guess what? It's a controlling mentality. You're coming from a controlled space, and yeah, maybe it may not be to the way of your liking. Maybe it may not be clean enough, but guess what? Relinquishing that need to be in control all the time is beneficial not only to others, but not one yourself. You owe it to yourself to give yourself a break. There's only one creator, guys. There's only there's only one creator. You can't hold the mountain on those beautiful, lovely shoulders, right? Because as women, we tend to feel stuck and unfulfilled, not only our homes, but also our careers, at our jobs. And then we wonder why we feel so unfulfilled. Are you in alignment? Are you in alignment with the things that you are putting forth in your life? Are you listening to yourself? Are you even taking time to see what you want and need? Are you setting time aside to focus on the things that's being asked of you right now for yourself before you enter the job force, before you go into the office, before you speak to that client? Are you taking time to see what you need? Are you hydrated? When was the last time you had a sip of water? Are you moving your body? You know, guys, our bodies. Listen, it's famous prize, right? It's not about just putting on beautiful things and smelling good and doing the hair, nails, and doing all the things, which is nice. But what about the inner work? Are you meditating? Are you meditating on the word? Are you meditating on, are you feeding your spirit with things that's going to feed you and put life in a perspective where you can continue your workload? Because I don't know about you. I know for me, if I don't sit with the word on a daily basis, I don't even want to know anymore. I don't even want to know what that is. And yes, and I've been on hiatus where I would read my Bible, and I would think something. You're like, oh, okay, this time I'll do it in the afternoon or the evening, and then the evening come, you're tired, you don't do it. Now that's one day. Next thing you know, 2 days, and next thing you know, you're just not really reading. You're catching sermons here and there. And don't get me wrong, something is better than nothing, but there is something to be said about consistency. Because I can see the difference in my life when I start with the living word of God. It's just a fact for me. I can feel the love that is bestowed upon me. I feel like I am going to make it no matter what, because there is a higher source, which is God, that is watching over me and is making sure that I will not stumble, right? There's a passage that I came to this morning. Let me see if I can get my Bible. First of all, hopefully I can see it because the words, are really small. You know what, guys? I love a good reading my Bible on a Kindle. I'm not gonna lie. You can try. There's something about opening that book. There's something about opening that book and reading what's in front of me. So let me see. Okay. Hopefully, okay, so I'm gonna do my best because these words are really small. Okay. It's Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch your life. The Lord will watch over you, over your coming and both now and forevermore. When I read this today, I needed this. I needed this. Just like I mentioned, the voices, right? We hear the voice in our head, and a lot of times, especially when you have aspirations, you can really get besides yourself. And I know for me, like when I read the part when it said, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Instantly, instantly, my heart just felt joy. Instantly, I felt happy. Instantly, I felt at peace. And it gave me a hope. It allowed me to understand that I can take chances. I can do things that I've never done before or I haven't had the courage to do before. I can move past the fear because guess what, guys? The fear never unclenches you. But you know something about fear? When you confront it, for some reason, it just disappears. Because why? I believe, and it is also said, God did not give you nor me the spirit of fear. So burnout usually comes from a place of controlling when I gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, as if you don't get everything done today for whatever reason, tomorrow there's no faith in tomorrow. There's no faith in the journey because it's a marathon, guys, not a race. Yes, have the dreams, have the aspirations, have your count, have your quota, I should say, to how much you see your business having for today or this year or this month. Have your quotas. It's not about not having the goals. Definitely have your goals, but understand the whole is in the journey. See, when this concept came forth within me, it allowed me to breathe. It allowed me to come with joy, with a level of expectancy, because I expect what I put out to work. I expect it because God said He will forsake me. He will not let me stumble. So once I continue to wash my eyes and because God's word does not sway. So once I constantly remind myself, wash my eyes and remind my spirit, remind myself consciously, like, hey, look, there's nothing to be afraid of. Be more of afraid of faltering and falling to the fear, allowing that to take over your life rather than do the things. And you know what? A lot of people are afraid to fail. I know I definitely was one of those people, and I'm not going to say that I'm not. There is this talk of war where it's like, oh, I don't want it to fail. But you know what? Somebody said this, and I don't remember where I heard it, but I do remember the sentence. It's like, you know what? I don't make it here. I'm gonna make it somewhere along the facility, and it's still gonna be way better than if I never walked towards it or tried to achieve it. It's a win-win situation regardless. You're gonna be better. Look at, like I just mentioned before when I just came on this platform today. Yesterday was a day, okay? I called it a hocus pocus day because I was like, the bewitching, what is going on? I can't even get the words out, girl. I was just like, but for every fail, I was like, I am not going to be defeated. I became obsessed with getting that message out yesterday, because I said to myself, get behind me, because the reason why I am struggling to get this message, right? Which I believe that I even went to sleep with, like, okay, because the internet was interneting. Well, it wasn't interneting. There was stop and shorts, and which led me to have to do more research, because you know how we get these. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm not like a big reading the manual type of person. Okay, I will skim through and, like, okay, I got the gist of it and move on. And usually that works out for me. Usually that works out, okay, because I get to move way further than not. But it also can hinder, and it has hindered me, because it's like if you would have just took some time and did a little more research, or played with it a little more, would have got to see, like, okay, oh, there is a contingency plan. Oh, there is a different way of going up where I can get what I need from this. You know what I mean? And slowing down, allowing yourself to breathe, guys, allowing yourself to celebrate the journey, right? Because we are here on a journey. This thing called life is a beautiful thing to live. And the more that I allow myself to understand this, is the more that I am able to hold space for myself. And I really hope this message rings a bell within you, because you're doing great. You're doing fine. You're awesome. Listen, you are part of that 1% that chooses to start something new, to not give up, to show up ugly. You know, there's this young, her name is Danielle. I don't remember her name, but I know she's a YouTuber, and she would always mention showing up ugly, right? Because you have to show up ugly. You have to be willing to show up. We all want to show up pretty, right? We all want to show up pretty, having all our dots and our T's crossed, but it's not always going to be like that. You know, you are starting something new. Guess what? You're going to start off ugly. When I listen to my early episodes, my goodness. But I hung in there. Now we are almost at our 300th episode. Could you believe that? 300. I'm approaching my 300th episode that I've recorded on my own. I've edited on my own. I came up with those topics on my own, did my research. At 300, am I proving to myself that I have the capability to be consistent? There's a drive there. Look at your body of work. Look to see how far you've came. Trust me, you'll be amazed. But because we continually think that, no, this new thing, I should have it all figured out, and I want this, and I am so far behind. And be sure to check out the podcast from yesterday, okay? Because that was a whole thing, feeling that I believe the title is It's Not Too Late. You're not too late, okay? We can feel like we're showing up to the party really late, but you're right on time. Even with setbacks, you're still right on time. Because no one said that it's a straight road to Rome. Many, many roads that leads to Rome. Guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as check out my vlog channel at Elizabeth Magical Garden. I would love to have you be part of that community as well. Subscribe to the emails at Elizabeth Magical Garden. Check out my blog at Elizabeth Magical Garden. All the links will be down below. Guys, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all my new subscribers. You guys rock. Thank you for being part of this journey. Share. Sharing is caring. So share this message with somebody that you love, that you believe that will benefit from this message. Guys, stay blessed, stay in peace, and stay empowered. Peace. Hey guys, leave a comment, a review, preferably 5 stars. And don't forget to check me out on Instagram because what is popping over there? And also check out my YouTube channel to stay connected and see your girl's lovely face. Guys, I love you so much. Keep on pushing, and I'll definitely speak to you soon. Be blessed.